strange disappearance of Kick Buttowski. Yeah, who remembers this show? One day I'm waking up and seeing Disney Channel smash this show in my face every other second.
Oh, God, Peter, hit me! Yeah! Ow!
Then one day it gets moved to an off and on spot on Disney Channel XD only on Saturdays. So what happened to this show? In today's video, we're going to be breaking down the very first episode, the very last episode, and we're also going to dive into some key details about this show and why it ended. So yeah, if that sounds good to you, be sure to leave a like for your boy and let's talk about it. Kick Buttowski's Suburban Daredevil. So what exactly was this show? Well, Kick Buttowski was a kick-ass adventure cartoon about this tiny 10-year-old boy named Kick. Yeah, he was like bound to get picked on from birth with his parents giving him this name. Bruh, nah, I'm just kidding. His real name was actually Clarence. Like that's any better?
The Clarence parents have a real good marriage.
But everyone pretty much knew him by Kick. Now Kick inspires to be the world's greatest daredevil, and throughout the show you can see it's pretty much a huge obsession for him. I have vivid memories of being in the house bored on summer vacations and watching this show a lot. And despite some of the comments I have read online with some saying they thought this show was pretty obnoxious, I didn't really get that vibe when watching this. When you turn on Kick Buttowski, you are greeted with this kick-ass intro with some tiny kid rushing in with incredible skateboarding skills. Then you hear this awesome music with Kick Buttowski constantly being said in the back. It's pretty badass. I instantly got the feeling that I was gonna fall in love with this series, and I wasn't wrong. The very first episode kicked off really good in my opinion. It starts off with Kick gearing up and making his intro, but it appears the garage wasn't having none of that. This is when we are introduced to Kick's best friend Gunther and his annoying big brother Brad. Now Kick and Gunther had known each other since they were toddlers pretty much, even though Kick still kinda looks like one. But yeah, I actually really loved Gunther in this series, and I feel like he complimented Kick well. He was always there for Kick and would time after time hype his friend up like he was just this legendary daredevil, when in reality that wasn't the case. Your friends are supposed to hype you up and encourage you though, so I feel like Kick had a true friend in Gunther. I mean, you definitely have to be a true friend to perform thorn butt surgery on them after a failed attempt at a stunt. Bruh. Now Kick's brother on the other hand was definitely obnoxious throughout this series, and he doesn't hesitate to show that in the very first episode. Brad is the second antagonist in the show, and if I'm being honest, Kick and Brad's relationship kinda reminds me of Greg and Roderick's relationship from Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I mean, it's literally the same scenario almost, and often in the series, Brad usually goes out his way to either cause problems for Kick or interfere with his stunts. So as you can imagine, it's pretty annoying at times, but sometimes it's also hilarious.
But this is even better! Say cheese!
I can't really fault his character too much because Brad was pretty much put there to be that bigger, lame, obnoxious older brother who thinks he's cooler than he really is. You'll also see in the first episode that he calls Kick Dillweed a lot.
Hey, Dillweed! Doing something lame again?
Oh man, that's some classic big brother bullying if I do say so myself. So yeah, as this episode continues, Kick had wanted to prove to everyone that he really was that fearless guy. So he tells Gunther to inform everyone that he'll be riding down Dead Man's Drop at 8 p.m. that night. Unfortunately for him, this was the night their parents went out on a date and had told this man Brad that if he watched Kick good enough, he can take his driver's test. These guys then start having this epic anime-like battle with Kick trying to escape. It was pretty freaking awesome. He even tries to use Gunther as a distraction, which was hilarious because Brad instantly knew it was him. I mean, look at this man. This did work though, because Kick had managed to sneak out to Dead Man's drop. Brad also meets him there and throws his board over the cliff, and this results in both of them riding down Dead Man's drop, with Kick trying to prove he's fearless and Brad just trying to catch him. This was so epic. And after this was over, Kick had become pretty popular in the neighborhood and would now be known as that kid who did incredible stunts. And Brad, on the other hand, needed some thorn butt surgery himself. Hilarious. And Kick made sure to embarrass him in the process. This was a awesome way to kick off the series, and as you can imagine, as a kid I was hooked after this episode. Now, a fun fact about this character Kick is that the creator Sandro Casado said he was thinking about his own childhood when he drew the character back in 2002, and that's when he got the idea to make a series out of it. Now, originally Kick was named Kick Knievel and was slightly different from the original vision of himself. He was much smaller. He would also have blue stars on his helmet and blue stripes on his clothing, which I believe he was paying homage to Evel Knievel. Hey, we might as well throw another in there. The episode we just reviewed, which was Dead Man's Drop, was watched by 842,000 people the day it premiered, the second highest rated series premiere in Disney XD's history at the time. This episode would be paired with another unrelated episode called Stumped, and this episode was fairly decent. It was about Kick waiting 3 days to meet one of his icons, Billy Stumps, who was this famous monster truck driver. But on the day Kick was supposed to meet this man, he ends up sleeping in too late and pretty much misses his chance. He was sitting on the couch sad about this, and Gunther was showing how good of a friend he is by trying to cheer Kick up. This is when they see this commercial promoting this Cheetah Chug drink and this show Billy Stumps was going to be performing at. To get a ticket to this show and a free passenger ride with Billy, Kick has to find this one key that they put inside a random can of Cheetah Chug, because putting keys in cans for kids to drink is totally safe. Yeah, so they head down to the Food and Fix to get some Cheetah Chug, but Wade tells them they are sold out. If you're wondering who Wade was, he was this cool guy from the neighborhood that worked at the local convenience store. And I'm gonna go out on the limb and say this man was definitely a stoner. He was always super chill whenever he appeared in the episodes, sorta like me. Yeah, but for some reason Wade kept a huge collection of Cheetah Chug in his trunk, and he was willing to give it away for the cause. And instead of just pouring out every can, Gunther drinks all of them and ends up throwing up. At least they found the key though. Pretty cool episode. So what exactly happened to this show? I swear for some reason finding the Holy Grail would be easier than finding the answer to this question, because there isn't really a real answer online pertaining to this. I read from a website that I'll have linked in the description that a fan emailed the creator of the show, and he wrote back and stated, "Thanks for the note. Sorry, but Disney decided already that this is the end of the road for Kick. It was a really incredible journey for my friends, family, and I really appreciate all the fan support." So it seems like Disney just threw this show down the trash, as it would air the last Kick Buttowski episode on December 2nd, 2012. So how did they decide to end this show? Well, it ended in a weird way, surprisingly. The final episode begins with Kick performing one of the longest stunts he's ever did in his life. Yeah, he literally did this same move for about a week straight. I mean, just savage, especially considering he didn't get any sleep. Kick and Gunther were on their way home, and Kick was saying how much he was going to enjoy the sleep he was about to get. But this is when things start to get weird. Kick's crazy cousin Cal shows up on this day, and if you know anything about this show, you know his cousin Cal is a huge fan of him and a little off in the head. Also, it's important to note that Kick literally has a crazy stalker fan as a neighbor as well, whose name was Jackie. Both Jackie and Cal had claimed to be Kick's #1 fan, and this eventually leads to both of them getting in this crazy battle of the fans, hence why the episode is called Last Fan Standing. Both of them were insanely fanned out and crazy. I mean, just look at them. Kick tells them to work together quietly to throw him a celebration so they wouldn't go crazier trying to figure out who was his biggest fan. But we see this really wasn't working, as they bother Kick every time they have questions about how to set up this festival. This leads to Kick making many attempts to get away from them to get some sleep, but they end up following this man everywhere he goes, even in his dreams. Yeah, and when Kick wakes up, he stumbles into this huge carnival-like celebration with everything looking exactly like him. I don't know, man, I think this would definitely stroke my ego. But Kick, on the other hand, didn't really care. He just wanted to get some sleep, which was pretty funny because after Kick goes inside to get some sleep, we find out Jackie and Cal had arranged for Kick to do a stunt with all his stunt idols. But they tell him the party's over as Kick has went to sleep already. That's a bummer. So yeah, Kick finally gets his sleep, and I really love this part at the end.
Gee, Kick, I never realized how merchandisable you were.
After Gunther says this, Kick looks at the camera with that final "F you" to Disney Channel like, yeah, and you're still gonna cancel me. Get real. But yeah, guys, this was the final episode of Kick Buttowski's Suburban Daredevil, and pretty much after this the show would end and we would occasionally get reruns on Disney XD. So my next question for you, if you have made it this far in the video, is did you actually get to check this show out in its prime? And if you did you enjoy it? I certainly did, and I would love to hear you guys' opinion about this show in the comments, so be sure to let me know. But yeah, guys, thanks for checking out today's video, and until next time, peace.